Have you ever bought makeup off of LinkedIn? Most of you are probably going to say no. Me, myself, I would have said no up until like 2 months, a month and a half ago. But this brand actually caught my eye on LinkedIn. So we are talking about Sarah Creal today. This is the brand that I found on LinkedIn because they had done like a beauty insider kind of article saying that, she had launched all these other brands and she was finally coming out with a brand of her own, hyping it up over on LinkedIn, which was an interesting place, but not the worst. And honestly, it caught my eye. I went to her website and I picked up these 3 products. Cost me an arm and a leg. This is a luxury brand. So I'm just gonna say that out of the gates. If you comment and say they're so expensive, you are correct. Nobody is denying that. And if they are too much, that's fine. Not every product is for every person. I always like to say that because, I don't know, like certain products are worth it, some aren't, but we're gonna jump into it. I am going to apply everything to my face. This is the full face. And I'm gonna talk you through my thoughts on all of the products and we'll just get into it. Let's get this party started. This is the Sarah Creal bag. I got this because I bought an obscene amount. It's really cute, but nothing special. These are the 3 products that I got. We have the sunscreen, the concealer, and the mascara. And I'm going to start out with the sunscreen. So you're definitely going to want to shake it. This is a mineral sunscreen. I think the packaging is really cool. It's also not practical because I've tried to put it down on my desk and like have it standing and it just doesn't stand. It does have a thinner consistency, but it has a lot of rather warm pigment. So you can see even on my tanner body, it doesn't necessarily work as well. So the way that I'm applying it is really just as makeup more than sunscreen. I'm not measuring it out as a 1/4 teaspoon. I'm hardly even using 2 or 3 finger lengths because, like I said, that pigment and the warmth of it really just don't work that great for my skin tone. But if I blend it out and use like a sheerer amount, it works a little bit better. So the people that always give me a hard time because I use too much, this is really like if you use any less than this, you're not getting any sunscreen. But I do kind of look like an Oompa Loompa. I think it works because my body is tan, but I think if you have a fair complexion, it's really just not going to be good for you. All right, next up is the concealer. And whenever I use their sunscreen, I always try to use concealer because I feel like that color of the sunscreen is just too dark. And this concealer is my natural shade, but lighter. So it kind of makes it look a little less Oompa Loompa-y. I also forget to put a little bit less on because this is, I would say, like a pretty full coverage. And it can look heavy if you put too much on. I would say I put too much on this time. You can definitely go with less because, first of all, it's very spreadable. It's also quite hydrating, so it doesn't feel drying or cakey. And I just always forget that it does that. But you can see, like, I'm using the brush and then I go in this with the sponge, and I think the sponge does kind of help absorb any of the extra, but you don't need as much as you think you do. Sped through the rest of the makeup, I put on the Chanel powder, the Hourglass palette for blush and bronzer, and all of the products will be linked below, so if you're interested in checking them out. But those are the next steps. All right, now it's time for the concealer. This is a tubing mascara, and I think like all the packaging, all of basically Sarah Creal, it's just a really elegant, fun package, brand, product. They've done a really nice job, and this product is no different. The wand is kind of that hourglass shape, which I don't love, I don't hate. It's a natural bristle, so not the like spiky hard plastic ones. A lot of people kind of prefer this style. And I think it gives you really pretty, more on the side of natural lashes than like crazy fake voluminous lashes. And you can build it up, but I wouldn't say tubing mascaras are ever the best when you build them up. So go in with your coat a few times and then kind of be done with it. Okay guys, so we have 3 products. The first one is the Sarah Creal Brilliant Repair Shield. This is SPF 50 Illuminating Serum. It's got, what is it, 12% zinc oxide. The packaging is, I think, just stunning. But again, luxury. We're talking luxury. This retails for $64, and I'm pretty sure it is 1 fluid ounce, but I'm gonna check. Yep, 1 fluid ounce or 30 grams. $64. It's supposed to be a sunscreen and kind of like a skin tint and also a serum. Now, for me, I think that the tint is really, really nice. It's more of a neutral shade, but I think it will only work on me if I have a like more tan kind of complexion, like in the summertime. I think in the winter, it's gonna be a pretty stark difference. So that's one thing about it. The other thing about it is I do love the consistency. It is quite fluid. It is very easy to apply, not streaky. It does kind of build up a little bit on my hairline. So you saw in the application, I had to make sure and go in and kind of just push it into the hairline. That's not to say that this is the only product that does it. It does happen, but just the difference, if you do have like a very fair or light complexion, you may notice it a little bit more on your hairline. I guess my final thoughts on this is, I think if you want to spend $64 on a 1 ounce sunscreen, by all means go ahead. Will I repurchase this? Probably not. It's just very, very, very pricey. And I think I have a lot of other sunscreens that do the trick. Most notably, if I want something that is SPF and kind of a little bit of a bronzy glow, I will go with either of these two. This is the Naked Sundays Cabana Glow, and this is the Ultraviolet. Ultraviolet is a little bit harder to get in the US. But this one is very comparable and really quite affordable for how much you get in it. There are also a million other bronzing drops with SPF, so it's kind of like pick your own. But again, if you want the luxury kind of experience, if you want a really elegant formula, this is a lovely, lovely product. It's just expensive. Like there's just no other way around it. Now let's talk about the concealer. This is called, what is it called? The Face Flex Concealer and Complexion Enhancer. This retails for $58. So we had $64 for the SPF tint, whatever you want to call it. And then this one is $54, or $58, excuse me. This only comes in 10 shades. So I can right off the bat see that it may not work for everybody. And I haven't really taken like a deep, deep look into the shades. I know they do have a light shade and I do know they do have a deep shade, but I think that kind of flexibility, because like if you don't fit exactly into one of the 10, you're gonna be kind of SOL. So the shade that I do have is, that's weird, is 3. That is light neutral, and this shade is spectacular on me. This is maybe my ideal concealer shade. This and the House Labs are very similar in shade. Actually, I'll do a swatch for you so you can see. So on the top, we have the Sarah Creal, and then this is the House Labs. You can see the Sarah Creal, this is the shade 3. It has a little bit more of a pink undertone to it, whereas the House Labs has, I would say, like maybe like a neutral warm shade. And they are both considered neutral, so, you know, sometimes when it says neutral, it's not really, and I would say both of these actually, even though they say they are neutral, they do pull a little bit pink and then a little bit yellow. The consistency of this concealer though, chef's kiss. It just glides on your skin, and it is meant to be for mature, older ladies or men, and I can understand why. It does, I wouldn't say it's like hydrating, but it's not going to dry out your skin unless you have incredibly dry skin. I have normal skin, so I don't really have that issue, but my under eyes can be rather dry, but it glides on like a dream. The other thing that I was noticing when I used it is it's surprising how much coverage you get out of this. If I want, I can use this as my base and it will cover, I would say, like medium coverage. So you are getting quite a bit of coverage. If you're just using it as concealer, I would say it's like medium, almost to full. Like you can build it up pretty well, but it has never looked cakey on me. So you can use it just as a light concealer. You can use it as your whole base. You can use it in so many ways. It's very, very flexible and it looks great with powder over top or without. I wouldn't say it's self-setting like some others, but it doesn't kind of run too dewy where like you need it to be powdered. It's kind of that perfect middle ground. And honestly, I would consider repurchasing this. This one and, like I said, the Haus Labs are really my two favorites at the moment. I, in the past, have loved the NARS Creamy Radiant Concealer. I liked the, maybe that's it. But honestly, these two are our favorites. I think the Haus Labs is gonna be a cheaper option, but I like the consistency. I like the wand on this better. The Haus Labs, it's always like a struggle. Watch this. To get it back in because the actual like doe foot starts bending and I'm just waiting for it to break off. So I don't love that. I think this is way more elegant. Look at the packaging, like there's so many pluses to it. Again, it's $58. So like if you want to spend lots of money on luxury products, I think you would love it. I think it's really gonna be flexible for lots of skin types, maybe not skin tones though. And then the last one we have is Back of the Cab Tubing Mascara. Again, they hit it out of the park with their packaging. It's got kind of like this tapered wand, or not wand, but packaging. And then it basically mimics the shape of the actual brush. This retails for $40. It is a tubing mascara. I have worn it, I don't know, like almost like 100 times at this point. It really does remove like tubing mascara. I haven't had any transfer, but I don't have super oily lids. I don't have a lot of transfer issues, but this one has not transferred if that is an issue for you. I wouldn't say it is the most volumizing of mascaras, even though it does kind of have that like hourglass shape to it, as you can see here. But I think it has more of that lengthening effect, which I think is really, really beautiful. And it's something for me, for an everyday basis, works really well. As far as would I repurchase it, is it something that's gonna stay in my collection? Honestly, probably not. It's $40. That's an insane price for a mascara. I cannot lie. Like when I was buying all these, what is that? $64, $58, $40. It was a lot of money. Like I'm not gonna lie. And the packaging, the sensorial effects and feel are spectacular. They are luxury and they do perform really, really well. I'm just cheap. Like, what can I say? Like, I'd rather spend my money in other places if it's active ingredients for skincare, if it's a procedure. I just think, like, you probably wouldn't know if I had my e.l.f. mascara on or the Sarah Creal. But again, I have been wearing it nonstop, so I do really, really like it. And that's the whole point of this video. Like, these products are great. It's just about your preference. So I don't want to say, like, don't get it. If $64 to you or $58, whatever, is nothing, and like you're happy to spend that, you enjoy this experience, you want luxury, these are great. They are made with women in mind, mature women in mind, made by women. So like, I just feel like that is on point. It just comes down to the price then. So are you willing to buy it or not? And I can't say that for you, that's up to you. The last thing I wanted to say is that I did not review all of the products clearly. A lot of the skincare was insane to me. Like the eye cream was $98. The toner that's supposed to be a hydrating toner, also $98. I don't need hydrating toners. That's not something my skin needs. I have normal kind of combo skin. The eye cream, I have my eye cream. I don't need to spend $98. I know it's not a review, like a whole brand review. And then the other thing is they came out with, well, they had like 1 or 2 lip treatments. One was like a mattifying treatment, one was a gloss, and then a lipstick. Those are all also very expensive, and I just don't need to spend that much on lip products, and I don't wear them that often. So that's why I don't have them, if you're wondering. But I will leave it here for now. I think that kind of encapsulates the makeup part of the brand. They are now sold at Sephora, so I will link everything below. Again, wonderful, wonderful products. It just comes down to price, I think, for most people. So do what you will with that. Okay. All right, guys, I will see you in the next one. Bye.